Well, it's Monday, and that means it's time for Marriage Monday. We're excited to be together. We love these times talking about your marriage, our marriage, and motivated couples from all over have just a wonderful time when we're together. And this episode begins a new series that we've entitled, It Still Takes a Village. No person is an island and no couple is an island. We all need, you need community, people that you can trust and a place that is safe.
You know, over all the episodes that we've done, over 30 plus episodes, a lot of you have kind of journeyed with us live every time we've done live stream together, and we've talked about things that we can learn in our marriage. We've talked about best practices and what we can all do better. We've looked at some passages from the Bible on marriage, and we've even looked at the experts and what they say are best practices that we can do, and we've even written a book together about marriage.
That's right, but we're not done. For the next 3 episodes, we're calling on all of our faithful live viewers to be here to engage and to give your best practices, your life experience. And this episode is going to be hosted by a young couple who are in their first few years of marriage, and they're going to be calling on you for your help with the things that you would give, the advice that you would give. And so we want you to warm up your typing fingers and be ready to engage in the chat.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to become a cohort. All of those who are live right now, live streaming. We're going to become a community. Literally, we're going to become a village together right now, and all of us who are watching are going to be giving our advice and what we think are the best things to help a younger couple or any younger couples who are watching as well. So here's our challenge for you. We want you to think and figure out how you can come out from behind your device and behind your screen right now and give some of your best learned experience about marriage.
Not only will we collect good advice for young married couples, but we think that if you pay close attention, you're going to get some great help too. So we want to ask you to get ready to be in the live stream, and we're going to be with you. Even though Kevin and Lisa aren't going to be hosting Marriage Monday this evening, we're going to be in the live chat with you as well. So get ready.
Yeah, well, let's get started and send a message. All right. And there we go. So here's what we're going to do. Let's get ourselves all ready. You get ready to type and give your best advice. Let's now go to the Milestone Monday Marriage stage. Milestone Monday Marriage stage. And let's give some love to John and Mikayla Allas as they take us through It Still Takes a Village.
Everybody, what's going on? Good evening.
Hello.
It's John. It's
and
Mikayla. And this is Marriage
Monday.
Marriage
Monday.
Marriage
Monday.
Marriage
Monday.
Monday.
Marriage Monday. We are here.
Monday.
Yes. Marriage Monday is here. We're so glad you guys are here joining with us.
Thank
Say
you guys
hello to
for
us in the
being here.
chat. Hello, everyone.
You know, we're usually here on a Sunday morning. Wake up a little extra early, come here, do some pre-service. But I gotta say, it's nice to be here
Yeah.
on a Monday night.
Very relaxing. The smooth jazz was definitely helping.
It was a vibe
Yeah,
for sure.
It was a vibe, yeah. Well, it is a very special night. We are so excited to be here with specifically all of our marrieds. I kind of feel like this is an exclusive, VIP only event.
Backstage
You know,
pass.
we're so glad, but we have some awesome questions for you guys. We're excited to engage with you. We're excited to hear what you guys have to say. And we wanted to say before we get started, this night is not only just for newly marrieds.
That's true.
This is a night for everyone.
For every
So
marriage.
whether you've been married a year, a week, 10 years, 50 years, we want to hear from you in the chat. We want you to engage with us tonight.
But before we get into our activity, it's probably important to preface that we are newlyweds ourselves. We've been married for almost 2 years.
Yep.
As of a couple weeks from now, June 1st, we will be 2 years married, which is really awesome. And half of our marriage has been spent in a pandemic.
Yep.
So it's a little bit
Yep.
different than most newlyweds.
Yeah.
But it's been great nonetheless. So the answers we have are going to be provided by you guys today. We're going to give some questions, and we want your answers. They're going to help us. They're also going to help other newlyweds, and hopefully they'll help a lot of you guys in the chat answering as you see different people's answers.
Yes, we are so excited. So get ready. Maybe you're someone who's like, I never use the chat. I'm not a chat person.
Not tonight.
Not tonight, because
Not
we
tonight.
need to hear from you. The whole purpose of this night is being a part of this village, coming together, sharing our knowledge.
Right.
I know you guys have been watching Marriage Monday for, what, over a year. And so we want to hear all the little tidbits you've gotten from that personal experience. We're excited to hear from you guys.
Yep, so let's get into, what do you think? Our first question?
Yeah.
Let's do it?
Yep, first question.
All
Let's
right,
just
so
jump right into it.
Why don't you share it? It's a pretty easy one to start,
Okay.
but a fun one to discuss.
Okay, so again, we want to hear from you guys in the chat. Our first question is, how do you properly address a snoring habit with your partner?
Ah, a snoring habit.
What do you
Interesting.
do if your partner snores?
Okay.
You know, like, do you have a defense mechanism?
Right. How do you get them to stop?
Yeah, you know, how do you sleep through it? Genuinely, I want to know
Or
from
do
you
you
guys.
sleep through it,
Do you
right?
sleep through it?
So how do you cope with a snoring
Yeah.
partner? We don't have this experience. We don't
actually
relate
do
to
have this experience.
No.
Personally, I'd love to hear any advice because I do feel like I am affected a bit by a snoring partner.
I don't know if this is our situation, but I'm sure it's other
It is our
people's
situation.
in
And John
the
actually
chat.
thinks like it's more belief, like he believes we both don't snore.
I haven't seen the proof to
But I have factual proof, like it's you.
We'll have to handle this another
Yeah.
time. So let's check the chat.
All right, I'm seeing people. Someone
I
said,
turn him over,
okay,
put a pillow over their face.
I don't know about that. Sleep clinic.
Okay,
Gently
gently
push them
push them.
over.
Great
Snore
advice.
louder.
John is not in denial.
John is definitely in
Not
denial.
True.
See, I'm already glad to see a lot of you guys are on my side. You guys are already, you know, engaging with us in this
A
issue.
sleep machine. Let's just keep going through the chat, right?
Okay.
A sleep machine.
Come out
Tell
with the
them.
truth, John. Turn him. Okay, so yeah,
Wear earplugs.
definitely. Of course, there's a lot. This is partly a joke. I mean, partly
It's
a
100%
joke.
But you guys did great.
Yeah, you get it. So we're gonna ask you a question. You guys are gonna engage with us. We love it. We love seeing all you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that.
All right, so next question for the village. Should everything be fair? Should everything
In your marriage.
in your marriage be fair? Why or why not, if you care to elaborate? You know, we all have responsibilities. We
Yeah.
all take care of something within our marriage. Maybe it's doing the dishes one night. Then is
Yeah.
it fair in the marriage for the other person to do the dishes the next night?
Right, like it's like a one-off.
Yeah,
Like
so if
I
I
did
do
this, so you should do this.
Right.
Okay.
Laundry, same thing.
You could even go as far as, you know, maybe spending money. Like she spent this much money on clothes.
Right.
So I should get
So
to
I
spend
get
this
to.
much money on video
Clothes as
games.
well, shoes,
Clothes,
whatever
yeah.
it may be.
Yeah.
So is a marriage meant to be fair? Should we?
So, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat saying, let's define fair. Good question. I'm seeing a lot of no's.
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing yes because it comes with respect.
You have to give and take.
Selfless, not fair. I like that. I like that point of things being selfless rather than being fair.
Life isn't fair.
Okay, fair is a concept. Yep. Yeah, I think, you know, it's a tricky one because
It
I
is a
think
tricky
even
one.
in life, that is something that is constantly being debated. Things being fair. And life isn't fair, like I've seen some people say in the chat, right?
Yeah. I'm seeing a majority of like leaning towards no. And I think when we were thinking about this question ourselves, I think we kind of agree with that. In theory, the idea of everything being fair, it sounds great. Sounds awesome, and
Yeah.
I think we're both for that. But like we saw in the chat, life does happen. Someone has a bad day.
Yeah.
Someone has a heavier load than usual, and they don't want to have all those expectations and responsibilities on them in those given days. So I think it's, like everyone was saying, it's give and take, right? There are times where I think the spouse that might be feeling a bit more, or might have a little more on their plate that day,
Yeah.
maybe they get a pass, and maybe the other spouse just helps out, lends a hand. right?
Yeah, I think that comes with the for better or for worse, right?
Right.
You could have someone who might be going through mental health issues at the moment or going through loss or really suffering in some way. And I think that is where it comes into play. Not everything is equal all the time, but that is the better or worse.
A comment said maybe more like shared than fair. That's a great comment.
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome.
All right.
Great job,
okay.
guys.
So our next question for you guys is, what are some ground rules to keep in your marriage?
Ground rules.
Yeah. So we want to know what are some foundational principles that you feel like you know, in your marriage, this is the things that are non-negotiable, the things that are really,
They don't change.
they don't change. They're firm in between the two of you.
We have established this, and nothing, or we're going to try to let nothing get in the way of us doing that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think this is a big one, especially a good question as newly marrieds to figure out I think as each year goes by, you're kind of figuring out what your ground rules are. What are your principles, your foundation for your marriage? And I think that they change over time.
Yep.
But we want to hear from you guys. What are some things that you have?
And they show, it shows what you're prioritizing. It shows what is at the forefront of your mind in your marriage. So let's read a
Yeah.
few of these. Don't fight dirty.
No yelling.
No yelling. Also
So,
above that, don't lie to each
Happy
other.
spouse, happy house. I like that.
We are a team always. That's great. Jesus is Lord.
Never go to bed without resolving conflict. Okay, that's a good one.
Respecting one another. Respect right after that, 100%.
Honesty. I think that is definitely a huge part, honesty. I think that everyone would agree that that's big.
I like this one. The bedroom is a safe place. That's cute. That's nice.
Never go to sleep without working out of conflict. This is interesting. Not interesting. This is a good one. Divorce is not used as a joke. That's pretty good because I think sometimes we can just throw around certain terms or words, but to know that that is something we don't mess with because that
Yep.
I think that's great.
Absolutely no back door. Everything gets worked out. That's awesome. What did we put for this one?
Well, yeah, I think that for us, you know, someone said it, not going to bed angry. I think that was a big one that we decided on. Although, of course, life happens, you know. You can't always resolve things in the moment, you know, before going to bed.
But we try to, like,
We'll do one of these
until the morning.
before we go to bed.
We will work this out.
It's civil, you
But
know.
tonight,
Maybe it's not completely
let's get
worked out,
some
but it's
sleep.
yeah, exactly. and I think that is one that has helped us. Another one is date nights on call at any time.
Right.
So
Spontaneous.
obviously, yeah, if one of us feels like we're not very connected, we can call a date night and say, hey, we need some time tonight. We need to focus in on each other. And maybe that is going out. I think for us, you know, we don't have kids, so we're a lot more flexible.
Right.
But even if you did have kids, that would be more, okay, tonight, after the kids are asleep, it's me and you. Let's put our phones aside. Let's focus on each other.
Right.
That's something we have definitely prioritized and made kind of a rule in our marriage.
And if you have kids, it's one of those things where you can find something to do at home together,
Yeah.
like just creating a date night at home.
Yeah.
And I think we had one more, correct?
Yeah, and another one that we wrote was communicating with each other first before making decisions.
This is huge. I think this is big. You want to communicate with each other so you don't kind of blindside the other person by sharing some information, sharing
Yeah.
a life decision that you probably weren't ready to share until you talked with each other. So
Or even spending money, right?
yeah.
No
that's
spending.
huge,
I've
too.
heard someone say like maybe no spending over this like $500 without, I mean, it would be a little bit
I don't
lower
know
for
if we're-
us.
I don't know if we're doing
No
that.
spending money over like this amount before like talking to each other and things like that. So I think those have been, even though we're only 2 years in, they have been the foundation, the ground rules for us.
Ground rules. Those are
Well,
very
thank you guys
important.
so much. I love, and honestly, as you're reading all these, guys, take out a pen and paper, take some notes, because there's some like nuggets of gold in the chat that I think
Definitely.
we can all start implementing for
Definitely.
sure.
All right, next question.
Yes.
Now I just want you to put one or the other. There's only two options here. Joint bank accounts or separate bank accounts. Which one is it? No need to explain.
Let us know in the chat, joint or separate.
We're just curious
No
what
right answer.
the majority would choose.
Yeah.
Is it joint or is it separate? We will not ask for any banking information
No,
here
no.
on Marriage Monday.
will
And
not.
if anybody does, it's not
It's a
Milestone.
scam.
It's not us. So
Don't
do not
give out your
them that
information.
But joint
Okay, I'm
separate?
seeing people say both.
Okay.
Joint and separate.
A lot of joint.
A lot of joint.
joint is
Both.
overwhelming me right now. So
Both.
many joint. Okay.
Okay.
Got some more
Both.
both.
Regular bank account and then crypto account. Okay, Evan Ding.
Oh.
Okay,
To
all right.
the moon, he said.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, obviously that one isn't as intense, but we're not even going to tell you what we choose, but
Yeah, we won't.
good for you guys.
But
Thanks
you
for
to
putting
see
it in the
what
chat.
everyone else is doing.
Okay, we have another question for you guys. Okay, early in the marriage, you both go through a lot of changes as newlyweds,
Very
of
true.
course. How do you become the best version of yourself for your spouse? How do you become the best version of yourself for your spouse? Now, obviously, when you get married, you're now partnered with this person. You become
Right.
one with them. And as you are partnered together, you want to get along with each other. I would say it should be a goal.
Yep.
And so with
ground
that,
rule.
what are some practicals that you guys have done to keep growing as a person for your spouse? How do you become the best version of
The
yourself
best
for your
version
spouse?
Of yourself for your spouse.
I see
Great
someone
question.
said, becoming more like Jesus, reflect and have D time.
Great.
Okay, time, mistakes, and humility.
Focusing
Oh yeah, you
on
got it.
self with God individually first. That's a really good
Yeah.
one. Focusing on your relationship with God first, and then kind of
Yeah.
coming back to the triangle of the three, right?
Yeah. I like what Christopher said, get advice from mature marrieds and pray for a renewed heart. And I really think that is part of what we're trying to do here, right? Having that village, having advice from other people, being able to be humble. Someone said, humility is key, always listening.
Right.
You have to be humble to keep growing and to see the areas that you could better yourself in this relationship. And I think as newly marrieds, that's something that is a bit of a, not a rude awakening, but it's a bit of an awakening when you first get
Definitely.
married that you have a lot of growing to do. It doesn't just end on the wedding day. There's a lot more life after that.
Definitely. Keep each
Yeah.
other accountable, doing things that mean a lot to her or to them, being forgiving, open-minded. These are great, guys.
Yeah.
Again, write all these down. These are awesome.
Yeah.
One thing that, or I think one thing we mentioned for each other and probably for most marriages is that you married your partner for who they are. And it's figuring out who each other are that starts in the marriage, right? You
Yeah.
start to figure out each other more, you start to find out who they are, and you start to identify habits they have, potentially poor habits and changeable habits.
Or even just habits that you're not used to.
Very true.
Maybe that are uncomfortable. They're not necessarily bad, but they're just different.
Very true. I think it's not about changing who the person is. It's about identifying what can be changed, the habits that can be changed, and working together to find that middle ground, to find what is going to be a part of your marriage going forward, what you guys can expect of
Yeah.
each other. So it shouldn't be about, I think, changing that person, changing
Yeah.
who they are. It should be about changing certain aspects of yourself instead.
And I'm seeing a lot of people saying putting your spouse before yourself, thinking of them first, focusing on selflessness. It really does come down to that. Which I feel like these things, as we're saying them, it's like, okay, of course, think of the other person. Like, they're no-brainers, but
Right.
to actually start implementing that is, it's hard to do.
Right.
And it takes work, and it takes that energy being put into it. So,
Yep.
yeah, thank you guys.
That's awesome. All right, next question. In Genesis 1, chapter 24, it reads, "That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." So how do we balance starting our new family, us two, while remaining connected to the extended families? So how do we balance that? This new family unit when we got our other external families? In most cases, when you get married, you're not just adding one addition to your side of the family, right? You're joining.
You marry the, what does they say? You marry
marry
the
the girl,
family.
you marry the family.
Yeah.
That's what they say. And so you're joining a new family altogether,
Yeah.
right? And there can be this added pressure, and sometimes it's unintentional, probably most often
Yeah.
it's unintentional, that can come from trying to balance this side of the family, that side of the family, and then your new family, right?
Yeah.
So how much time you spend with that side of the family.
It's huge, and I think as like newly marrieds, that this question is something that I think a lot of newly marrieds think about and wonder, like,
Right.
how do we balance? Or they might have moments where they feel like, I don't know if we are necessarily balancing it well. So I
Right.
love this question because I am genuinely very interested to hear what you guys say.
Look at the overwhelming, everyone's saying
Boundaries, they're like, boundaries.
That's the key word.
Yeah, communicate. Okay, set proper boundaries with family. Lots of hard work. Communicate before making decisions.
Right.
That's great. Embrace your spouse's relatives. It's so rewarding.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love that.
Communication is so important. Definitely. Definitely.
Each spouse should make the effort to get to know and even initiate with their
Aw,
in-laws.
That's a great practical.
I think it is great. Yeah, that's really good. And
Taking that
honestly,
initiative.
you know, this is also a difficult question because everyone's family is different. Every situation, every marriage is different. And I definitely don't want to downplay the fact that one couple might feel like, oh, this is super easy for us, but then
Right.
another couple might feel like there's a lot there. There's a
Right.
lot behind the scenes that,
There can
or
be
trauma,
conflict,
or
trauma.
like baggage. And so I think that it's really important to work together as a couple, like you guys are saying, and decide what is our stance.
Right.
What are our boundaries? What do we
What's
need?
our standard?
What's our standard? And moving forward, how can we continually communicate and constantly check in with each other, make sure everything's okay and we're feeling good?
Right, and the challenge with this is sometimes like there are family situations where there's a lot of conflict, things are difficult, but there's other family scenarios where they're just really, really close. Everyone loves each other a ton. They got group chats for this side of the family and that side of the family,
Yep.
and you're trying to find your way into
You know what? Isn't that awkward when you first join the family and you're like, so are we gonna make a new group chat? Are you gonna
You
add
gotta
me
get a new group
in?
chat, a new title, and sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move away from that. But
No,
because of
yeah.
that, I think it can naturally be easy to listen to what the family standard is,
Yeah.
what the family wants, and that being the standard. But it's important as a new family unit to decide what your standard is and
Yeah.
to obviously respectfully communicate that.
I like what I think Richmond just said. Make your marriage a first priority. Agree to the boundaries with extended family, but still pull them in so they don't feel excluded. And I think that
awesome.
is really great. You know, we actually have lived with your family. We're living with my family. So this is something that we've had to put into practice, but it really is amazing when you feel like you're on the same page, and then you can just give love to the family,
Yeah.
love to the extended family. And we love our families, so shout out to you guys in the chat if you're there.
Yes, they're all here. They're all present. Shouts out to everybody there.
All right, next question. Okay, how can you give your spouse the proper amount of space?
Huh.
Just because you're married doesn't mean you own them.
What?
What?
Huh?
Okay, this is a
Interesting.
great question because I feel like when I first read this question, I'm like, of course you don't own them, of course. But this one, it got me. It definitely got me. When we first got married, a lot of people would joke, like, when you get married, you lose your freedom and you can't hang out with your friends or whatever, which I hope you didn't feel that way. But when we
not
first
at all.
got married, I was working full time, John was working full time, and John was in school. And so he would be out all day, I would be out working, I would come home, and then he wouldn't get home until really late. And then the poor guy would have to do schoolwork, and it was just a lot. But I just remember feeling like, you should spend time with me, you should just want to be around me.
Right. Kind of like, why would you want to go spend
I
time
just felt like
with others?
friends. You don't need friends anymore. You have me. You have
Friends, question
Why
mark?
would you soccer? You want to go play soccer with your friends? You could sit here and just talk with me though for hours into the night. And I would feel this way. And so this was I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say
Right.
because
So there's space that is
space is
potentially
needed. Space is
Yep.
needed.
So find out how much space they need. So talk about that, right? Like, what do they need? What are
Yeah.
they wanting? Go for a run. Allow time away.
Someone said you need to talk to them to understand what kind and how much space they need. That is huge.
So this discussion is
yeah.
huge, is what they're saying.
Definitely communication. Hop on your motorcycle and go for a ride.
That's awesome.
If I had one, I would.
Have
Lit-
hobbies together and
Oh, yeah.
apart. That's a great one. We do
yeah.
pottery together.
We do. We
That
do
is
pottery.
our hobby.
Hobbery.
Hobbery.
Okay, so another one says, lift up your spouse, understand their needs. Everyone needs a different definition of space. And that is really big because I think a lot of times what I view as the space that I need, yours was completely the opposite or different from, and we would have to communicate
Right.
that because there would be a misunderstanding. I would feel like, so you don't want to be around me? Whereas you would feel like, I need air. I need a break.
I was
and
not
so-
trying to avoid her.
No, but there's
And I would
obviously
feel a lot of the same stuff, to be
yeah,
honest.
and I think with different personalities comes different needs. And so
Right.
someone said quality time versus quantity. Make it special and schedule visits with extended family after you agree on a time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, these are some great things. And honestly, I think a lot of that I'm seeing is what we wrote down here, which is, a lot of times I think that the space or the space is hard to give when you don't feel connected.
Yeah, the connection's huge.
And so we would really have to figure out, okay, we need to be on the same page, because when we're not connected, we could be spending time together, but I still won't feel connected. And then you go off and do something else, I'll feel like, what about me, man?
If we haven't connected and then I decide I'm just going to go play soccer for a couple hours and then come home and it's like later in the night, it's just, it's not prioritizing our connection, it's prioritizing whatever I wanted to do and then putting that as kind of like the leftovers. So the connection part, I think for us is huge. And maybe for a lot of other marrieds or other newlyweds, that might be a good practical for you, is just connecting, deliberately connecting first, and then giving them space, whatever space they needed, like everyone said, after having that conversation, to go do what you want to do and go hang out with other people.
And honestly, it is good to have space. You know, not too much, but you want to have space with each other. We would always say, you know, when we are apart, then when we come back together, it feels so special and it feels exciting. Yeah, we missed you. You know, we also did long distance for how many years?
4 years.
4 years. And so we know what space does. And we're like, so when we first got married, I was like, no, we're spending every second of the day together.
That's true. That
I think that's different.
Factor.
When you're newly married, you have that honeymoon phase, but eventually that does change, and you want the space so you can
Good word.
Change, yeah.
All right, next question, guys. I think this is a good question. What are some helpful or deliberate day off practices that we can do as a married couple? So this is when you have a day off of work. This is a restful day. This is in the church here, we sometimes call it a Sabbath day, or your day off, your day of rest. And it could be vacation time. It could just be over the weekend. But this is a question where we want to hear answers besides just binge watching TV.
Because you want it to be like what we were just talking about. You want a connection.
Yeah, you want to.
You don't want to just be around each other.
It's easy to have the day off and then just like sit on the couch and just numb out watching a TV show. But we want to do something to build our marriage, to grow spiritually, to connect with them, get to know them more. Obviously, all those different things. So what are some deliberate day off practices that we can do as a married couple?
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing someone said a road trip. Someone said go for a walk together in a new area, accomplish something. That's great. Chris Ramos said we unplug, phones are off, focus on the family.
Great.
Garden, wake up late together. Seriously, sleep in.
Get outdoors. That's what everybody's doing right now, right? That's
you know, that's also part of it too, is when you're in a lockdown, it's a little bit more difficult to find times, but plan adventures away from your home so you won't be distracted.
I like Jeremy's. He put in food there, tacos, ice cream, and then a hike. Of course, those are great options.
We love to hop in the car. We have our best times on the road. We also like to do that.
Yep, going for a drive.
I think that these are great practices, and I think take note of some of these. I don't know about you guys, but it's been hard to be, you know, in the current stage of life we're in here in Ontario. And so sometimes you feel unmotivated. You feel like, what is there to do? I have no inspiration. So take note of some of these. I think some of these are great things to start implementing in your marriage.
Someone said they got a hotel room. That's a really awesome.
Very nice.
Just a special thing to do, kind of spontaneous or something out of the ordinary. That's awesome. Something we do on a daily basis, or maybe not so daily, but every other day or something like that. We try and go on a walk, like everyone else is saying, going outside, going on a little hike. And we love talking. Like, it's rare if we go on a walk and it's just like silent. Maybe we might be having to deal with something else if that's the case. But usually on our walks, we like to dream together. We like to plan together.
We dream and we scheme on our walks.
Dream and scheme.
Yeah. We learned that from Kevin and Lisa Robbins.
Yep.
Here at Marriage Monday.
Marriage Mondays. We also like going out to eat and just trying new places. Even in COVID, we'll order takeout and we eat in the car at like a park or something
I know
like that.
some of you guys have some of those car dates. Those are classics.
And then Chris and Z, they actually did help us just learn to unplug
Which he put in the chat.
He did put it in the chat, but we unplug our phone from ourselves. We try not to talk to too many people, try not to go into social media, not too deeply into there, just try and focus on each other, and it builds, I think, connection.
Yeah, it really does. That has definitely helped us, and I would encourage everyone. I don't think we realize how often or how much time we're spending on our phones and how much time we're spending on social media. If you don't have that little app that says screen time,
screen report,
it's a scary sight. Let me tell you
If
that.
you don't have it, it's hours probably for each of you guys.
So I would definitely recommend unplug like that. It really is so helpful, and it has been very, very helpful for us in our marriage. All right, we got another question. This is a big one, okay?
This might ruffle some feathers, so
Let's remember
if
it's
you aren't
Marriage
sitting,
Monday.
take a seat and give it to him.
Thank you. Who's the better driver, husbands or wives?
Who
Okay?
is the
Who is the better driver?
driver?
Want to see it in the chat. Now, this, society says one thing, but when we look at the receipts, like insurance receipts, I do know that I think your insurance is highest when you are a male in the teenage years, right?
So that might mean something.
I don't know.
You could look at accident records.
Accident records.
I mean, if you look at
I think
us,
we know who's the better driver. We know who's the better driver.
I think we do.
Because we
do.
We know, right?
We just know. I mean, if we look at accidents, I definitely
Yes.
have more accidents. I think I have 2.
I would like to say to all of YouTube, I have never been in an accident in my many years of driving.
To all the millions watching this.
Never got a ticket. Never sped. So now you know.
I have
I'm seeing a lot of people say husbands, wives.
neither.
Neither.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a little split.
Husbands, wives. Wife taught me, so I can't say much. Wow, that's awesome, Thor. I love
Husbands
that.
think they are.
Cherry's onto something.
That's funny.
She's onto something, okay?
Husbands need to protect their wives on the road. Okay.
Easy, okay. Yeah, I knew this was going to be, it's a split in half one. It definitely depends each couple, but
We don't have the correct answer, but we do know what
ours is.
ours is.
Yeah. And with that, we'll move on.
And we will not say that to YouTube. We will leave that between us.
Okay.
All right, next question, guys. This is a huge, crucial question, I think. How do you share feedback in a positive way with your spouse? So a lot of times, we want to share some type of feedback, right? We want to give our spouse some sort of advice, but we don't want it to come across as like a harsh correction. We don't want it to come off as something negative, especially after a long day, after they're feeling a lot.
You know, if
after
that
a lot
ain't
of,
the worst, you come home from a long day,
Yep.
you throw your jacket down, and someone's right there to say, can you hang your jacket up, please?
Yeah,
I don't like when you don't hang your jacket up like that.
We just don't need that at that point in our life.
It's just not
We don't need that.
It's not that
energy.
we need.
That energy is not needed in that moment.
So timing is important.
How
Timing,
do you share feedback? How do you share some sort of critique, gentle critique, in a positive way? What practicals do you have? How do you break the news to them, essentially? How do you go about that process? And this is important because depending on how you handle this, it could go into something bigger, something you did not want, something you were trying to avoid.
That's true.
So let's see what people are saying.
Someone said you have to cushion it with encouragement and love.
True.
Start with a compliment, sandwich. I've seen the word
Just say
sandwich
it.
a few times. Sandwich it with praise.
So they're saying put it in the middle, right?
Start with the pros and cons. Okay.
Use choice words. and
Sandwich
have a
again.
gentle approach.
Sandwich is just the word of the day. My wife says, don't take this the wrong way. That's a good one. I've used that before.
I've also
Watch
heard
your
this.
tone. Okay, that's a big one. I think the way you say things.
Yeah, the way you say things does matter.
That is huge.
100%.
Yeah.
Smile.
Pray first, end
That
it with
body
love.
language is important.
You know, I think this is another one of those questions that it's very easy to give an answer in the chat. It's very easy to say, yeah, have the right tone.
When
Be loving.
you aren't feeling something.
But when you are feeling like, wow, I'm very irritated, or I notice this and I wanna say it, I think this takes a lot of deliberate practice and hard work to figure out the proper way. And I would say even like letting the Spirit lead you in this conversation, right? I would always say praying about it. That's definitely huge for us.
And other people have put that. But check this out, guys. The marriage expert himself, Dr. Gottman, he says marriages are likely to succeed when the couple experiences a 5-to-1 ratio of positive interactions. So essentially saying 5 positive things every time that you're preparing to say a negative thing. So we said sandwich, right? So we said like positive, negative, positive. He's saying 5 positive before that 1 negative. And that's not just like your hair looks great, you're really funny.
Your outfit's cute.
Not like that, but like genuine positive
Yeah.
statements or things to share
Yeah.
before that critique, that criticism.
I think that's huge because, you know, a lot of people might see that 5 and be like, oh my goodness, 5 positives. Like, let me just get to the truth. I just want to say exactly, you know, not beat around the bush.
Right.
But actually, for me personally, in my personality, I see the 1 and I think, oh, wow. Because I think
one
I'm
stands
definitely
out.
a conflict avoider. I'm definitely a people pleaser. And I kind of would like to just do a classic 6 positives, you know, and not even speak the truth. But I think what that shows me is even someone like myself, I have to push myself and know for that healthy marriage, I have to speak truth
Yep.
when needed.
And you know, a lot of you guys, I noticed the answers, right? Commonly, we think 1-to-1 ratio, right? So before we break the bad news, let's give a little bit of good news. Just one small thing. And what he's saying here is 5
Yeah.
positive things. So that's important that we're cushioning it, but with a heavy cushion. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 positive things to be deliberate.
And I think
in
that can
sharing
also
that.
be like, and also like
Yeah, that's
throughout
true.
your day, right? Like you don't want to just be like, okay, sit
Essentially-
down, let me tell you 5 things right now, and then I'm going to lead with the one,
Essentially,
right?
you want to be gassing up your spouse. You want to be lifting them up. You want to make them feel awesome.
Yeah.
And then when that moment does come,
Yep.
it's a little less like rude to just share it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's saying just share it on the spot.
And you guys know this. I like Ed said, rule of thumb, 8 positive to 1. I like
That's awesome.
that. I
Great,
like
Ed.
that one.
The other thing we did want to mention with this is also you can save that thought and share it later. Sometimes, like we were saying, the tone matters, but you could say everything the right way and you could say it the right thing. You could share it correctly, but it's just the wrong time. And that wrong time could kind of ruin the way it was all portrayed.
We definitely have experienced that at times, you know?
For certain.
Yeah.
So save it and
Save
share
it.
it later.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you guys. That was awesome.
Another question for you guys, and this is one that I think it was my number one question as a newly married person. How do you stay connected in the midst of a busy life and a busy schedule?
Schedule.
How do you stay connected in the midst of it all? Like I was saying before, you know, when John was working, he was working, I was working, and he was in school, I would, feel like there were moments where we were disconnected.
Right.
And I guess I wasn't sure. I think when you get married, you just think everything's just going to be great. And we're just going to 24/7 be like, oh, we love each other. But that didn't happen. And there were moments where I was like, it was hard to connect because
Yeah.
life was so busy. And that
at
was
this
hard.
time, I was working at Apple, but we were both working in our teen ministry. And so I would come home late, like we were saying, but then we'd like start planning for our teen ministry, right? So it was just like, there was never really
Yeah.
that dedicated time naturally in our schedule to connect the way we may have wanted. So with that, how do you guys stay connected in the midst of a life like that? I'm sure a lot of you have similar scenarios.
Yeah, I'm seeing someone said prioritize date night. Someone said make love. And, you know, agreed.
Great answer.
Agreed. Someone said plan it. Stare for 10 seconds into each other's eyes.
That's cute.
Oh.
We've done that.
Yeah. Okay, use the time you have to strengthen the time you've spent apart. I love that. That's really good. Do things together, play games, talk every single night, pillow talk almost every single night.
Schedule it. Yep, back to planning, right? Planning again is said at the
Connect
bottom.
on purpose, plan on purpose, leave notes, send texts, small things add up.
You've got to plan
I love
to
that.
connect. Plan is the key word here
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
Make time for each other, make it special, make conscious choices to be connected 100%.
And again, I feel like I've said this like so many times, but easy answers, but it's difficult in the moment. And I think this is something that we have really, in these past 2 years, been fighting to implement in our day-to-day life is constantly planning and putting that time in to connect with each other.
Right.
And I think it really does feed into so many different areas of the relationship. You might feel like we're getting in arguments here, or we're not really connecting in this area, or something feels off. And I find that often it's because of that connection that's missing. It does feed into different streams of your marriage. And so for us, this is a huge one. And I think all these things that you guys are saying, they're so good. Definitely nuggets of gold.
We definitely love planning. She uses a physical planner. She writes it down. I use the calendar app, and that's like, if we aren't doing that, then our times of connection are just gonna be, they're gonna be missed, and we're gonna have to have conversations after. So we have to be deliberate, like everyone's saying. You guys know what you're talking about. Plan a date, lock it in, lock an intentional time.
See, and even like looking and seeing, wow, we have a busy week coming up, so how are we gonna make sure we stay connected through it?
Yeah.
I think that
maybe it's having breakfast each day of the week. If that's like the time you really do have together, then spend it together and make it fun. All right, guys, I think this is our last question.
This is our last question. Thank you guys so much for engaging with us.
It's
been
gone
good.
by too quickly.
I know.
Our last question for you guys is a big one, though. How do you forgive? How do you get yourself to a place that's ready to forgive? We aren't perfect, of course. We all do things that are wrong. We all hurt each other, often unintentionally. Sometimes it might be intentional, but most of the time I'd say it's unintentional. And when that happens and our spouse is hurt, then we're caught off guard, right? When it's unintentional. We've hurt our spouse and now they are put in a mood, they're sad or whatever, and then we're caught off guard because we didn't mean to hurt them. So now there's this funky dynamic where we're kind of both upset and we don't really know why. At least that we've experienced something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's similar situations. There's just situations where you hurt one another without intending to, or you just have been put into a situation where there is pain and it's difficult, or you've hurt one another. So how do you get your mentality to a place of forgiveness, especially if you feel like you did nothing wrong, you didn't mean to do anything? How do you just get to a place?
Yeah, because we're talking about the one that's been hurt, right? We're talking about the person that needs to forgive. And someone said, take the log out of your own eye. Classic. Someone said, I see all my faults, then it's easier. Always set your mind that no matter what, be prepared to forgive. Yeah, that's huge, definitely.
Remember your own faults. Definitely. Humility, you have sinned as well. Totally, right? Remembering that we've done the same thing. If it's happening to us, we've done the same thing to them before.
Yeah. Remember the last time you were less than perfect. Remember who I am before God and how he has forgiven me.
Oh, Nadine says, when I think of how gracious Kevin has been to me, her husband has been to her, that's great, right? Reminding yourself that, like, they've been so good to me, so I need to be the same back, right?
Yes. Read Romans chapter 2, verse 1 to 11. Carla Allas, mom of John, woman of God.
Great
She
advice,
knows her
Mom.
Bible, so I would write that down, you guys, because
Great advice.
that's probably very helpful.
See the bigger picture of how you value and need each other in life. Awesome.
Pray, and remember the bigger picture. Yeah, I think those are definitely huge.
Those are
for
awesome.
sure.
Robert Quillen, he says, a happy marriage is the union of two good forgivers. So essentially, make forgiveness that ground rule we were talking about. Look to forgive more than getting your point across, more than explaining why you didn't intend on making them feel that way, and here's what you meant. Don't focus on that. That's not really helping the situation. Focus on forgiving in the situation, being humble in the situation, like everyone's saying. And if you make that a ground rule, a happy marriage is sure to come from that.
Wow. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with us.
Sheesh.
That is all the questions we have for today. Thank you for all the advice. We hope that you guys had fun. And I felt like we were really being given to by just reading this chat. But I hope that everyone in this chat is able to take note of some of these things. And although some of these questions you might feel like you know the answer, I think implementing it moving forward is something that we all have to push ourselves in our marriage to do.
Very true.
I know that, we love watching Marriage Monday. Something that has inspired us over and over again is coming here, though, and seeing the chat. And seeing all of you guys week in and week out coming to improve your marriage and inspiring each other to grow in your marriage. I think for us as a newly married couple, that has really, really helped us remember that we have to, in the same way, grow.
Right.
And always keep learning, always keep speaking to our village and getting the support that we need.
Right. So no matter what stage of marriage you're in, hopefully today has been helpful for you. We all continually need to reprioritize our marriages, but it's a huge help when we have all of you guys in the chat helping out one another and helping out us. So tune in 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
We are going to have the Ramoses up here, and they're going to help us learn and discover more in our next Marriage Monday and catered to the stage of marriage that they are in, having some young kids. So that's going to be really awesome.
that's
Come for
awesome.
that. Thank you guys again.
Yes.
Have a great night. We will pass it back to the Robins.
Bye,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Well, wasn't that great?
That was fantastic.
Didn't they do such a good job? We want to
Great
thank John
stuff.
and Mikayla for the work that they did there and for kind of going out there where no one has ever gone before and hosting a Marriage Monday. It still takes a village for younger or for newlier married people. They did such a great job. And we want to thank also the cohort, the community, the village of all of you,
right.
and the wisdom that you guys all
guys
dropped.
were amazing,
You
yes.
really did a great
Yeah,
job,
thank
and we
you.
are grateful for that.
And our next episode, our next live stream episode will be on Monday, May 31st. And it will be entitled It Still Takes a Village Part 2. It will be hosted by Chris and Savika Ramos, who are going to be gathering advice for married couples with young children. So please come back for that. They need your help, and we need all of our live viewers back for that episode.
That's right. So here's what you need to do. If you know some people who are married who've got some young kids, tell them about our next episode coming up and invite them to come. I think they would really enjoy it. And if you are an old married person and you've already gone through that stage, make sure you show up as well, because I know you've got some wisdom on having a great marriage even while you got younger kids.
It's true, and it's all amazing things that anyone can benefit from, really, no matter what stage of marriage you're at. It's great to be a family together, really helping each other. So please come back and invite your friends as well.
That's right. So that's it for Marriage Monday. This was It Still Takes a Village, Part 1. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and we'll see you at our next episode.
Good night.